There's a personality trait that decides whether you cry over a last-second buzzer beater or shrug and change the channel. And it has almost nothing to do with liking or disliking sports. It's called reward sensitivity. And once you understand it, you'll never look at sports people versus non-sports people the same way again. Because here's the thing, not caring about sports isn't a gap in someone's personality.
It's not that they're missing a piece other people have. Psychologically, it's the exact opposite. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why. You've met this person. Maybe you are this person. The Super Bowl is on. The office is buzzing about the game, and you just don't feel it. No excitement, no dread, nothing. In this video, I'm going to break down 6 real psychological reasons why some brains are simply not wired to care about sports, covering reward sensitivity, social identity, childhood exposure, cognitive style, emotional regulation, and something researchers call independence from social norms. I've spent time digging through personality psychology and social identity research to put this together, so stick around, because the last reason on this list is the one almost nobody talks about, and it might explain more about you than you'd expect, sports fan or not. Let's start with the one that explains almost everything else. Here's the core idea. Psychologists talk about something called reward sensitivity. Basically, how strongly your brain lights up in response to certain kinds of stimulation. For a sports fan, competition is a drug. Unpredictability is a drug. The tribal feeling of my team versus your team is a drug. Their brain treats those moments, the last 2 minutes of a tied game, as genuinely, chemically rewarding. But for someone with lower reward sensitivity to that specific type of stimulus, none of that fires the same way. It's not that they're trying to be different or that they're suppressing interest. The excitement simply isn't manufactured in the first place. Their brain looks at the exact same buzzer beater and registers nothing special. Think about it like this. Some people get a dopamine hit from a plot twist in a novel. Some get it from a spreadsheet finally balancing. Some get it from a 3-pointer at the buzzer. Same chemical, completely different trigger. But reward sensitivity is only half the story. Here's where it gets more interesting. Because a huge amount of sports fandom isn't actually about sports at all. It's about identity. Social identity theory, one of the most cited frameworks in social psychology, shows that people build a sense of belonging by attaching themselves to groups. And a sports team is one of the easiest, most prepackaged identities on Earth. You put on the jersey, and instantly, you're part of an us. There's a them to compete against. It's belonging, delivered in 90 minutes with built-in drama. But not everybody forms their sense of self through group belonging. Some people build identity through ideas, through creative work, through individual mastery of a skill. For those people, joining a stadium full of strangers to feel connected doesn't scratch the itch, because they were never trying to scratch that particular itch to begin with. So when someone says, "I just don't get why people care so much," what they're often really saying is, "I don't build my identity that way." It's not a criticism of sports fans. It's a completely different psychological wiring for belonging. Now, here's where a lot of people get this wrong. A lot of people assume interest in sports is something you either have or don't, like a personality trait baked in from birth. It's not. Research on interest development points again and again to childhood environment. If you grew up in a household where Sunday football was sacred, where your parents cheered at the TV, where a team's win or loss actually changed the mood of the dinner table, your brain built an emotional association early. Sports got wired into your reward system before you were even old enough to question it. But if that association never got built, if nobody around you treated it as meaningful, there's simply nothing there to activate later in life. It's not resistance. It's more like a road that never got paved. So as an adult, they're not missing something they used to have. They just never built the connection in the first place. and they genuinely don't feel like anything is absent. So, personality and upbringing explain a lot. But there's a cognitive piece, too. Some people are wired toward abstract thinking, long-term analysis, creative problem-solving, pattern recognition across ideas rather than across a scoreboard. Now, to be fair, sports absolutely involve strategy. Anyone who's studied a playbook knows that. But to a brain that's optimized for open-ended, abstract thinking, a sport can feel repetitive. Same rules, same structure, game after game, season after season. It's not that the complexity isn't there. It's that this particular brain is chasing a different kind of complexity. The kind found in science, philosophy, or art, where the rules themselves are the thing being explored, not just the outcome within fixed rules.
This is also tied to emotional regulation, and this next part is the piece almost nobody connects to sports disinterest. Because sports aren't just entertainment, they're an emotional roller coaster, and not everyone wants a ticket. Watching sports is emotionally volatile by design. Excitement, tension, sudden disappointment, occasional euphoria, all compressed into 2 or 3 hours. For a sports fan, that unpredictability is the appeal.
But some people are wired to actively avoid unpredictable emotional highs and lows, not because they're incapable of big emotions, but because they get more satisfaction from stable, internally driven activities. Reading, building something, solving a problem at their own pace. For them, voluntarily signing up for an emotional roller coaster over something they can't control feels less like fun and more like unnecessary stress.
And this connects directly to the last psychological piece, maybe the most underrated one of all. Because not caring about the world's most popular form of entertainment says something bigger about how a person thinks. Sports are arguably the single most globally shared form of entertainment on the planet. Billions of people organize entire weekends, conversations, and even friendships around them. Personality psychology research shows that people who are less influenced by social norms are also more likely to diverge from widely shared interests, even ones as dominant as sports. So choosing not to engage isn't a void. It can actually reflect a more independent, less socially conforming mindset.
These are often people who ask, do I actually enjoy this? Or am I just supposed to? And answer that question honestly, even when the honest answer goes against the crowd. So let's bring this all together. So go back to that person who shrugs when the whole office is talking about the game. It's not that a piece of their personality is missing. It's reward sensitivity pointed somewhere else. It's identity built differently. It's a childhood that never wired the association. It's a brain chasing a different kind of complexity, avoiding a specific kind of emotional volatility, and often simply thinking a little more independently than the crowd around them. Not caring about sports was never about lacking passion. It just means the passion got directed somewhere else, into music, into building things, into ideas, into whatever actually lights up their reward system. If this made you see someone in your life differently, or honestly made you understand yourself a little better, that's exactly what this channel is for. I break down the psychology behind everyday behavior like this every week, so if you want more of it, hit subscribe now so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you in the next video.